Huh? Okay, we'll start. Greetings and good evening to one and all. On behalf of the organizing units, IEEE Computer Society, IEEE Professional Communication Society, ACM, and CSI Chennai, I extend my warm welcome to our today's eminent speaker, Ms. Sarada Ramani, members and leaders from the organizing units, and distinguished delegates who have joined the Google Meet meeting, and those watching through the YouTube streaming. Most of us are aware of Benjamin Franklin's quote, by failing to plan, you are preparing to fail. And Winston Churchill saying, he who fails to plan is planning to fail. So planning is a vital process in any project, as it is not only shapes the project, but also helps in many other ways to motivate the developers, to track the progress, to spot the problems earlier, and to avoid them, to see if you are heading in the right direction, etc. Studies have shown a significant increase from 20 to 65% depending on the project in time to complete the task and success of a venture. Planning is another valuable soft skill that can be applied in literally every area. In today's presentation, Ms. Sarada Ramani will address on business plan for entrepreneurial ventures. Writing a business plan is mostly seen as a task to be undertaken by a startup only when they are doing fundraising. But the fact is that the moment you start a business plan in the right way, you will understand that it is a blueprint for the success of any organization at any stage, as it deals with all aspects of business and clearly spells out the milestones to succeed. Today's session will enable the participants to understand the role and establish the need for business plan, detail out the content that needs to be part of the business plan, and finally, what kind of plan to share with the different stakeholders. Having provided a brief on the topic of today's presentation, let me move on to introduce the speaker. Ms. Sarada Ramani, author of the book The Business Plan Write-Up Simplified, is not new to most of us associated with the IT industry. She is a founder and past president and advisor to EWIT, that is Empowering Women in IT, which will, with whom all of us through CSI, IEEE Computer Society, ACM work very closely in quite a few events of mutual interest. Ms. Sarada Ramani is the founder, CEO of Global Technologies Private Limited. However, she wears various hats like National Award-winning Woman IT Entrepreneur, member of Dean's Advisory Board of Great Lakes Institute of Management, Posh Advisor, and external committee member to various companies, visiting faculty and NIT Trichy, charter member and past president of Innerville Club of Chennai Thiruvanmiyur, charter member and current president of Rotary Club of Chennai Thiruvanmiyur, motivational and public speaker, and as well as the author of the best-selling book, The Business Plan Write-Up Simplified, based on which the talk is going to be, is going to deal with the business plan. Having been part of an organization, she is more than realized that the proper business plan would have helped her to scale up much better and faster. So this is the learning she has undergone, and that is basic motivation for writing the book. Also, as a member, she realized that the plan is not just filling numbers, but more about creating a minute working model of the business, and thus the book Business Plan Write-Up Simplified was born. In her today's presentation, she will share the secrets of her success through a good and proper business planning and will highlight the important ingredients of a business plan. I am sure all of us will have something to know to ensure our success through today's presentation by Ms. Sarada Ramani. With this brief welcome note about the topic and the introduction of the speaker, let me hand over the floor to Ms. Sarada Ramani to start her presentation. Over to Ms. Sarada Ramani, please.
Thank you, my good friend, Mr. H.R. Mohan, and all the other partnering organizations. It's a pleasure to be part of this evening, deliberating on what's a business plan and what are the contents and why we need a business plan for, first and foremost. So in this presentation, I'm structuring towards the student population rather than a typical business unit, which is into a, in a growth stage or in a mature stage, because I found that the registrations are mostly from the student community, and the focus that I'm going to have is more on the startup point rather than from an established business point. So can I have the presentation, please?
Unmute. You are mute.
Okay, I was saying that if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them as and when the presentation is happening. You don't need to wait till the end because let's get it clear as and when we are progressing.
Yeah, PVS, are we presenting? PVS.
Yes, sir.
Present பண்றீங்களா? She is expecting us to present.
Or I can also do it if you want.
No, it's okay. We can do that. No problem. Only thing is, but you have to ask him to keep moving.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay, a few minutes, sir. Now I will present it.
Okay, so till the time they are getting things ready for presentation, let's start with a question. Is a business plan necessary component when you are starting a business, or when is the actual point in which you have to write a business plan? Is it when you are just in a startup stage, or is it in a lateral stage? Where is that the business plan is really useful? Anybody can answer this question till the time that we are technically getting on to the presentation. Anyone there? Yeah, nobody likes to be questioned. Okay, Rajeshwari has replied that it is in the starting stage. Any other answers?
Throughout the business life cycle, madam.
Absolutely, Mr. Ananta Padmanabhan. See, a business plan is just a placeholder. It's like, a PowerPoint cannot be the presentation of any presenter. The PowerPoint is only a placeholder. Many people mistake that the PowerPoint is all about their entire talk for a audience, because this is just a base. Same way, the business plan is just a setup with which you will be able to analyze various aspects of your business, and it gives you a clear idea of where we have to go forward, and what are all the things that you need to really put in place, and then what are all the milestones you need to achieve, and if you are not achieving, where to course correct. If to simply put, business plan is like a blueprint of an organization. It's like you're constructing a building. So when you're first going in for a building permit, you go to the drawing board and then tell the person who's going to give you a drawing that this is the area that I have, and this is the construction that can be allowed in, and this many number of floors I want, and this is the square feet of the each floor, and this is how I want. This is the placement where I need.
Again, you have muted. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. It gets switched off automatically. I don't know why. Because I'm not even touching my computer. Anyway, so going into, I mean, as soon as the presentation is ready, I will just go from there. I'm just doing it as a time filler, but to give the importance of a business plan. So it's like going to your, architect and then discussing your plans, and he gives you a blueprint, and that is what you submit for your approvals, and then you go take it from there and then build it accordingly. And if there is going to be any structural changes, then you have to go back to the board, because once it is in concrete, so you have to you cannot change it that dramatically. But if you need to add one more floor, what do? You again go to the drawing board and then see whether the pillars are strong enough for the extra 4 floors that you want to build in. Or if you want to do any alteration, you go back to the original drawing and then find out whether it is a load-bearing wall which can be knocked off, and whether a new wall can be built, and what will be the effects of doing some internal modifications, despite the fact that it is one floor and it is in no way connected with the other floors. But everything is interconnected as a business unit. Same way, a business plan as a first step is for the startups, but going beyond, even for a mature organization, if they're going to launch year on year, they definitely need to have a business plan year on year, or when you are going to do a market penetration, that's when they have to definitely look at writing up a business plan in full. Then if they are going to launch a product, that is also when they have to really look at a business plan write-up, because what they have been earlier doing going to be different for the new product. So that is where the business plan is not just for a startup, but is also for mature businesses, and especially those businesses which are in the growth stage. The business plan becomes the really the Bible or a Gita or a Quran based on which your entire business operates. So next, please. Next. So we have gone through all these things. So the last part of it is, when can we get away from the business plan? When you're retiring from the business, when the business is shutting down, that's when you can get away from writing the business plan, because it's always the base plan which gets tweaked every time something new happens, or every time you want to have a new target to be fixed, etc., etc. So there is no getting away from a proper business plan in any part of the business. Next. Next. So we are going to see what is in a business plan. This is the must have. There is no other two things. That the 14 points are the base or the table of contents that every business plan should have, irrespective of the nature of the stages of the business that you are in. These 14 are the base that every business plan should have. Just to read out: executive summary, introduction, problem statement, the solution that's offered, the marketplace and product positioning, competitor analysis, the team, marketing strategy, sales strategy, operational plan, financial plan, milestones, exit plan, and attachments. Okay, this 14 are there. Then if I'm in an organization, I've seen my business plan, but all these 14 are not available. This can be joined together. So next slide, please. So what are the 4? I can divide these 14 points into 4 different categories. So what are the 4 categories that we have to have? Next slide. The 4 divisions that any business plan should have is the description of the business, the marketing plan, the financial management plan, and the management plan. So when you talk about the description of business, it can combine so many other things, and one line saying that the description of business, or it is all about the business. And the marketing plan talks about the market positioning and all other stuff, which we are going to see in detail later on. Same way, the financial management is all about the revenue that the business is expected to bring in. And the management plan is a very critical element of any business plan, because it talks about the men, that is the people, that is the resources that are needed. I am not just talking about people alone, but all the resources that needs to be in, including the exit strategy. So next. Let's go into the first section, the business. So what do we have in the business session? Next. The business description is where we are coming into. It's the introduction about the business. It's about the problem statement and the solution that is on offer. Next, please. What is introduction? The introduction is just you take it as I mean, I can link the business plan to a story that's being told for an audience, or a cinema that somebody is taking up and they are going to talk about that cinema to the artist or to the producer or anybody. We are not talking about after the finished product. We are talking about the initial stages of, I have a story and I want to produce a movie out of it. So how do I go about it? So the introduction becomes very important. So I start saying that it's a thriller, it's a comedy genre, or this is a family drama, etc., etc. And it says that how, if it is a thriller, what kind of a thriller it is going to be the description that we are going to do. So you can take it that this gives you the helicopter view of your business. So from a top level, you are looking down into a business. So think that as a movie maker, I invite few people and ask them to tell me a story. And if it is catchy enough, then I go for it. If it is not catchy enough, I'm going to say no to it. So the introduction is as important as anything else which is coming later. Next. The problem statement. You can take it that this is the plot of your story. I am actually taking everything from a movie perspective so that it becomes easier for us to understand the business plan itself. So this is the plot. So imagine a storyteller going to a producer and saying that today there are two people who are walking on a dense forest. The whole area is dark. There is no light in there, and suddenly one light comes in. So how do I take it forward? So the first narrative is about the current situation. And what is the problem? There is no light in there. So how do I go forward from there? This is how I'm going to go forward from that. So the problem statement is nothing but what is that your product is going to solve? What is the current situation? And how does your product offer a solution to the current problem? See, if there is a problem saying that I am in a 4th floor and my water pressure is very low, how do I manage it? Then I create a motor pump, which will pump water at a better pressure, so that the water outflow from my shower or from my tap is much better, and it is as equivalent to a person who's living in the 1st floor. So the problem statement is in a 4th floor apartment or 11th floor apartment, where in a high-rise apartment, the water pressure from the pipeline is going to be different for different floors. So how do we mitigate that water flow problem for people in the higher floors is going to be the what this problem statement is going to be, and the solution is going to be how are we going to address it. Next. So the solution becomes the hero. In any movie, you will always find that the people are all wallowing in a problem, and there is no food for them. They are all hungry. Or if you take an MGR movie, then you will find that it is raining outside and everybody is drenched in rain. Their whole huts are all floating in water, and they have no place, and the hero comes in and then takes everybody to a safe place and makes them stay there so that they are dry from that rain. So this is how the solution comes in. So does this solve a real need or challenge in the current scenario? Or if it is a new product, see, when we are talking about an existing product, we will come to it a little bit later. The product that I'm going to deliver, it can be a software service, it can be a hardware product, it can be any product. We are not talking about only IT industry alone, but we are talking about in general, any business genre it can be. That it holds good for every genre of business that you can imagine. So the solution, does it really address the need, and will it be able to solve the problem, and will it give an enhanced experience to the customers? So these are the questions that needs to be answered in detail when you're talking about the solutions. Next. So the next comes the product and service. I am actually quickly going through because we are doing it as a 1 hour program. This is actually a full day workshop, where if you're going to do it as a workshop, we are going to do it along with exercises so that you will understand how to really write a business plan for any businesses, whether it is imaginative or a idea that you have, or your existing business or things like that. So when we talk about the product or service, what is that you're selling? How will your product or service benefit the customer? What is the difference about the product or a service that you're offering to the marketplace? Can you just go back to the last slide? Here, we are only talking about the solution. Whereas in the next section, we are talking in next. Here, you are talking about your particular product. There, it was just an overall solution. We are saying that, okay, fitting up a pump in an apartment which is in the high-rise floor will solve the problem. So that is the solution. Now, the product that I am selling is, it is it can be a pump of this much of capacity. This can be fixed here, or this can run without electricity. This can work with the pressure of the water. Blah 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 blah. This is what you will be talking about when you're doing your product or service, because in this section you are talking about your product. Whereas in the last section, we were talking about the general solutions that are available for the problem statement that we wrote about in the previous section. Next. Can you just go back? The most important point about what needs to go in is that the USP, the unique selling proposition of your product. And what is the see, when you say about the difference between the product or service that you're offering in the marketplace from whatever is existing, or it is not there, and so you're bringing up a new solution, you are talking about your solution. Whereas that USP talks about what is that unique thing that people need to know about your product, because this is very, very critical. There are lookalike products. So which one will you choose? I have a remote. So that remote, there are 101 remotes, or there are 101 fans. If you see all the fan advertisements, they will not be talking about the air speed at all. They will be talking about this. They will be talking about it has a shorter blade. I mean, when they say about airspeed, I'm saying that my fan will be faster. It can cool so much of a surface area, or there are shorter blades. There is a uniform circulation, etc., etc. So every fan manufacturer will have a different story to the same product. So understand that your business plan will need to spell out the USP of your product. Next. All these are very important points, because whatever you are talking about as your product is all from your mouth and it is from your brain. The moment you start putting down in black and white, then it becomes, you can really course correct. So it will look, you can find out whether it is looking excellent, because for a mother, all the children are the best children in the world, the angels of the world, beautiful angels in the world. Whereas they may be dark, they may be the most mischievous kind, but for a mother, she wants them to be the best in the world, and that's how she's going to project. But is it really slow? So is it really the truth of it? So the moment you start putting up, my kid is blah, 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 then you cannot hide the truth. You have to definitely write about everything that needs to be there, which will spell out why my child is best in what aspects. My child may be a prodigy. My child may be a mischievous person. But my child, if he or she is a prodigy, then I will be able to list down why they are smart, why they are a prodigy, etc. very, very clearly. So that is all about the product. So we are talking about the first section is all about the product. Next is the marketing plan, the most crucial part of it, which everybody misses. And even the growing companies, the going companies or the growth stage companies leave a lot of things out in here. I am not going into the vision, brand, goals, action plan, sales tools, etc. in detail here. Everything put together is the market plan. We are only going to talk about 4 or 5 things. Next. Is there another slide before that? Yeah, and then move on to the next slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay. So when we talk about the market plan, what is it we want to talk about? The marketplace, first point, then the market analysis, which will consist of your SWOT, then your PEST, because the of it has a larger problem in the product or the service that you are going to sell. We will come to it in slightly in a minute about why macroeconomics is also important. It is not just the microeconomics, or it's just that SWOT alone is enough. You also need to get the political, economic, social, and the environment issues into focus when you're talking about your market analysis, and the ideal customer profile, the competitor analysis, the most important point, and marketing plan and sales plan, the which really details out the customer behavior and the buying patterns. So just go to the previous slide. So when you talk about the marketplace, what is that you need to talk about? Does the opportunity so identified by you earlier will create enough customer base? Where will the products be sold? What is the market for the product? What is the size of the market? What place can the market share be? At what pace the market share can be gained? Even if you take a chocolate, a confectionery industry, the next slide, please. I was talking about the pest. Confectionery industry were doing a roaring business. When I talk about the confectionery industry, I'm talking about the small entrepreneurs who are manufacturing chocolates, which were priced at 25 paise, 10 paise, 50 paise, 1 rupee, etc. Even larger players were there in the market. Then suddenly now their sales are dropping. You know why? Because post digital payments coming in, you don't need to get a change back after you tender your money. Before and all, you will even see an ad for a Paytm where they will say that the earlier, he will say that I don't have 5 rupees balance, or I don't have 2 rupees balance, or I don't have 50 paise balance. So either you had to forego, or you have to take that chocolate that he was offering. Now, with the digital payments in, you can pay up to the last paisa, and you don't need to bother about taking that small chocolate. So that is where their market is totally damaged. So unless and otherwise they are able to package it right, they are not able to get into it, because their penetration level into a very small shop which was selling these kind of things as a giveaways instead of the the cash component or the balance that was due to the customer is totally lost. They now have to create a different story of why the chocolates has to be bought. It can be, the storyboard will be very different. So that is where the political and economic or the social outputs of different things affect the product all the time. So you have to understand how even a small thing like a digital payment has affected a very large industry which is into confectionery manufacturing. So next, let's come into the ideal customer profile, the most important aspect of it. Many people miss out on this because they think that if they are writing that this product will, my product will cater to every damn person. There is no person in the world who will be left out of my product usage. Take for example, FB. When they first started, they were looking at targeting only at the college students because they were the ones who were trying to get connected. Now they are actually spreading throughout the world. But there are also people who are left out of that Facebook or the Twitter space or the Instagram space. Twitter and Instagram are more popular with the youngsters and others who are very tech savvy. Whereas people who are not that very tech savvy, they are into Facebook but not into Twitter or Instagram. So that there is a difference between the entire market. So you have to really sit down. This is the real core of the entire business plan, because unless and not only the business plan, it is also the business success is very much dependent only on this particular session, because it will define the person who is going to buy your product, the most important person's existence, without which your business is not going to move even a single inch. Even if you take a small paper clip, the paper clip may be at a throwaway costing, or a safety pin, maybe you can get a dozen safety pins for 10 rupees, throwaway pricing. But that doesn't matter, because that 10 rupees purchase will be for only for a certain segment of the people and not for every person. We can say that, oh, my safety pin will be used by everyone, because all the people will require a safety pin at one point of or other. It may be for putting it on your wherever you need to join two places, you use a safety pin. So that may be the answer that everybody will be giving. But are we rightly positioning it? If you find where do you sell these safety pins, you are selling it on a footpath, and you are selling it in a departmental stores, which will be tucked inside. It will not be at the front position, but it will be tucked inside. Whereas if you go to a local there will be, if you go to a small shop which is selling fancy items, you will find that there is one big dabba will be near the actually the cashier's place, where it will have all kinds of pins, because the pins are bought by those people who are buying all these fancy items, and they think that, okay, I may need it. They may buy 2 dozens or 1 dozen. People don't bother about what is the actual need, but they buy it more because they feel that the safety pin can always be used anytime. Okay, so but you don't know where you have kept it, and so you lost it. So the ideal customer profile is extremely important. So you have to sit down and write, who are the customers. We will be selling primarily to private sector, wholesalers, retailers, government, others. Next. And from there, you derive into what is the gender to which you are going to sell this. What is the family which you are going to sell into it? What is the age of the people you are going to sell your product? What is the educational level of the person who's going to buy it? What is the occupation of a person who's going to buy it? And what are his particular interest and then the income? So all these are all the important components when we are talking about the ideal customer profile. When you are talking about an ideal customer profile, it is not just putting on that, okay, this is where I'm going to sell. Do not go that broad. You have to really, this is the place where you get down deeper and deeper and deeper. Even if you are going to do a building, you will always see, even at in a stage of doing your blueprint, you will first is you will define whether it is going to be a commercial building or it is going to be a residential building. If it is a residential building, then you are going to see whether it is going to be only for a for your immediate use, or are you going to have it for a later day bigger use. Because today I am just a single person, or I'm just married and I'm a small kid. So for me, 1-bedroom apartment is more than enough. But tomorrow my children will grow up, so I will be needing 2-bedroom. day after tomorrow, my parents will also come and join. So I'll be needing 3 bedroom. Then later on, can I have my first, instead of having it as just as only a ground floor, can I have the first floor also? Things to be laid out so that when and where needed, I can construct it. So you always plan at that particular point of time how your product is going to behave, even at the time of deciding on your product design. I mean, at the design stage itself, you first have a detail of where your product is going to sell. Then when I talked about the building and then the first floor, those are all the upgrades. So you are not talking about that upgrades as of now, but you're going to make sure that the building foundation is there, which will support those upgrades. You cannot take it that, okay, I'm going to build a house with just a ground floor and then go for a foundation, which will hold only that ground floor. I may be constructing 2 more floors later on, but my foundation has to take. I think somebody is muting on and off. Okay, so even during the Mr. Adnan, please do not mute. You are keeping on muting me and I have to unmute myself and you are breaking my flow. Next, please. So as an exercise, kindly go back and then do this customer profile for a Rajinikanth movie, a Hollywood movie, or a HR consultancy firm. Yes, Mohan? So that way you will understand that you will be able to know how to detail out a ideal customer. Next. So the marketing plan, next is the marketing plan and the sales plan. What is the difference between a marketing plan and the sales plan? Next. The marketing plan is like the brain. So how do you match up? I mean, it is all about your market. It's all about the place where you are going to sell. How do you, to whom are you going to sell? What is that expectation of, I mean, who are the customers? Why should they buy your product? And how are they going to be satisfied with your product? How will you announce a product that you're got it? And how will you create a channel partner? How will you create a demand for the product? And how will you match the expectation of a product to its pricing? Next. So the steps that you need to do it up are classifying your customer needs, examining your niche, and the market positioning. So if you're taking up an electric scooter, then you imagine, how do you classify your customer needs? Who is going to buy your electric scooter? Is it the person who's driving a Mercedes Benz? Is he the one who's going to buy an electric scooter, or is he a one who's already having a bike and who's driving within the city? He will be the best person who will be going in for a electric scooter. And if what kind of a person will buy that electric scooter if the pricing is going to be much different from the normal scooter? So what is that niche that you are trying to penetrate? Why should people switch over from a normal bike to a electric bike? And how will you position that this is the product that everybody should have? What is that? Like a lifestyle product, can you create a market positioning so that people will grab that opportunity to go out and buy? So these are all the marketing steps that you need to take care. Next. The sales plan is about the short-term goals and the long-term goals in terms of actual selling. While a marketing plan is all about the product per se and the market per se, the market penetration per se, the sales plan is actual sales. Like I told, I was talking earlier, it's about selling a pin. How much of how many number of pins can you sell? which area is selling, where should I focus on? I have a manufacturing factory in, say, Gumdibundi. So how do I reach out to, where do I first start reaching out? What are all the areas around which I will be starting to sell? All these things are all what you will be talking about in a sales plan. The sales plan is the actual execution. It is like, I want to go to Trichy. That's your market plan. And how do I go to Trichy from Madras to Trichy is going to be your sales plan. Am I going to, in a marketing plan itself, you will, so you will be discussing about what is the mode of transport, what is the cost that you can incur, and how do I take it. If I need to catch a train, I say, for example, I'm in Adambakam. So the train is leaving at 5 o'clock in the morning. So how do I start from Adambakam and be there in the station by, can you go back? So to catch the train at 4:30 to the station is all the planning. Can you just go back? Okay, so let's skip it and then come back to the. Can you go back to the previous slide, please? See, we will talk about the buying behavior of customers. Typically, there are different behavior patterns when you are purchasing. Each of us can be strategized into what kind of a buyer persona we have. So we are here talking about what are the buying behavior that we need to really look at when we are selling. So am I going to have the presentation back, or should I start presenting?
No, it will be displayed. Just hold on, huh?
Yeah.
Because yes, rejoining.
Okay. Oh. Okay, till this point, is there any questions that anybody wants to have? Should I increase my pace, or is it okay?
It's okay. Speed is okay.
Okay. I'm actually spending a lot of time on this aspect of it because I felt people who are wanting to go about launching a product, these are the important things that they definitely need to know and understand and then put it into their. Yeah. Next. Origins of person. So if you take it from the product perspective, then you match it with the consumer perspective or the buyer perspective. Origin of purchase is who buys it. Objectives of purchase, why do they need to buy? When do they need to buy? Where do they need to buy? And why do they need to buy? And how do they buy it? So these are all the 6 organizing behavior. When you talk about as a product, these are all the 6 O's. When you match it with consumer, it is directly translating into the buyer's buying behavior. Next. So the customer said, okay, just go back. So there are 4 phases of a customer-oriented selling approach. Believe me, earlier sales was more focused on selling. Today, it doesn't happen that way. It is mostly, it is focused on the buying patterns rather than the selling patterns, because we are no more in the seller's market, but we are in the buyer's market. Earlier, there was a mad, imagine in the 30, 40 years back, getting an apartment from the government, people used to wait for in a queue to get a application form for applying for a Tamil Nadu housing board. Today, Tamil Nadu Housing Board is struggling to sell the apartments because there are dime a dozen apartments around the same place where they are selling. And the only thing that is a, USP for a Tamil Nadu Housing Board is that now their pricing as against the others, it may be slightly lower. And another thing is they put up the sales only after the entire apartment complex is done, whereas the other players in the market, even before they are launching the product or even before we'll take this question. Madhvi, you asked me at the end of the presentation. I'll answer you this question. At the there is that USP that Tamil Nadu, the housing board will definitely talk about. So in a customer-oriented selling approach is that establish a rapport with the customer. What the customer wants to achieve by buying a product. I want to look beautiful. So this is the common statement for any woman who's buying a cosmetic product. But is that all? That is a grand statement. So who is that and why do they want to look beautiful? Is it a bride? Is it a old woman? Is it a person who's working in a front office? Or is it just a housewife who wants to beautify herself? So depending on what the customer, who the customer and what they want to achieve, then the kind of product messaging will work out for them. Determine customer's objective and situational factors that will influence these results. So being a housewife, if I say that I want to look beautiful, so what is that kind of a makeup item that I'm going to buy? I'm not going to buy something which is extremely, high priced and which will give me blah, blah, blah. I may look at something which will suit my budget, and probably I may want a younger looking skin. I may want something which will make my face glow. Those are all the things that I finish off with. So customers' objective and the situational factors are very important. Only as a MLM product. How do they sell it? They have brought it, they have used it, they are feeling happy about it, and then they approach their own circle and then start selling. So, and by agreeing to buy that product, this is what I have achieved, and so this is what you will also achieve, is what these people will be saying, and that is how Amway is very successful. Then obtaining customer's commitment that, yes, today I have seen this TV. Tomorrow, will I come back and then buy the same TV? If it is blah, 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 blah. Why I am buying a TV? What kind of a purchase plan I have? And why should I buy? So you will find that between the window shoppers and the actual purchaser, there has to be a storyboard that goes through all these people so that finally they come and buy your product. So this is the 4 phases in which you have to approach the customer. Next. So let's take the features and the benefits. The performance. Oh, my Mixie or the overhead motor that I have has so much of a horsepower that it will pump the water so fast. So that is the performance. Reputation. I go to this builder and this builder's building is extremely strong. The foundation work is strong. The building quality is good. So that means that in the longer run, I don't need to worry about maintenance cost. Exclusive. Oh, okay. So at the top end, you have certain products which are a prestige to have, like a Merc. So Merc and the other cars, if you want to purchase a Merc, that becomes a dream object that you want to buy because it's a prestige symbol and to show the world that you have arrived. And then ruggedness, the continuous output. So even after 3 years or 5 years, my bike runs smoothly. So it is a continuous output. Price, economy of use, then design, ease of use, workmanship, exclusivity. So you go for example, your parents or your wife goes to buy an ethnic jewelry. which is like, exclusive things, which will not be available in the next piece of jewelry. Then you pay a different pricing for that. So these are all the features vis-a-vis the benefits. So your features has to translate into the benefits. That is the storyline that you really have to really work on and make sure that the customer understands. So you don't need to talk about the time saved or the prestige point of it. You have to talk about the features and the benefits or all perceived benefits. Next. So the buying motives are rational. Economy purchase, economy of use, increased profits, accurate performance, ease of installation, space saving, complete servicing, low maintenance, availability. These are all the rational aspects. Next. Emotional aspects are pride of ownership, desire of prestige, desire for recognition, desire to imitate, safety, fear, desire for security, convenience, desire to be unique, curiosity. Next. As an exercise point, just go back and then start looking at different companies which will be able to talk about both the rational and emotional buying motives, which are being the selling points or their USPs. So when you're writing your USP, ensure that they are talking to either the rational buying behavior or the emotional buying behavior, so that the selling becomes easier. Next. We have finished about the product, about being in the marketplace, how we are going to sell, etc. The third part is the financial plan. These are all I'm just going to quickly go over because it comes with a lot more practice. Those two are very important as a startup, whereas these are also important. You have to really work on it because these are all imaginative work things that you will work on when you are in a startup stage. Next, financial plan. A financial plan will contain a project plan, a balance sheet, profit and loss account, cash flow, and break-even analysis. What does a project plan mean? Next. The project plan identifies all the costs that are associated with the products. It can be either the top-down approach or the bottom-up approach. What does it mean as a top-down approach and the bottom-up approach? Okay, this is how I want to manufacture. This is my product, and this is how I manufacture. So the difference between the top-down approach and the bottom-down approach, I don't need to go into detail. Next. Project plan. So it determines your core cost. It considers the non-core expenditure. Then you have to need a reserve to help you mitigate the risk, because risk we are going to talk about later. And lastly, but not least important thing is you have to create a place where you can you have to note down your expenditure, cost, running total, and all the notes, because this is the Abu is as important as anything else, without which you will burn out. Many of the startups are burning cash like hell, thinking that they are going to capture the market. But today, the whole outlook of a investor has changed. He wants to know upfront, when is that I will be able to get my money back, and into what multiples of money that I will be getting back for the investment that I'm going to make. How do I tell him this? I'm putting all these things, and this is how I'm going to justify. Okay, these are all the costs, and this is how it is going to work out, and this is the market that I'm going to capture, and this is so many sales that I'm going to do, and this is the profit. Next. What is the assets, liabilities, and owner's equity? Next. Asset represents all the goods and resources that a company owns. It can be, for example, I have 10 laptops. I have a router. I have, you know, Mohan, I find that somebody, instead of muting themselves, they're muting out everyone. That's where the problem occurs constantly. And the liability portion represents all the debts. How do I get to purchase all these things? It can be, by taking a loan or from any person or from any entity or etc. And the equity portion is the shareholders' contribution that I have put in, the initial money that I have put in. I have put in 50,000 rupees or I put in 1 lakh rupees, and that is the owner's equity. And it also, when you're making a profit, whatever your profits are, it gets added on to the equity positions. Next. So this is how in a balance sheet, the assets are listed down, the liabilities are listed down, and both needs to be equal. Total assets equivalent to total liabilities. And it has to be matched because the goods can be purchased only through either liabilities or owner's equity. Okay, next. The P&L statement. The P&L statement is the financial statement. It actually talks about the revenues, the cost, expenses that are incurred during a specific period of time. It is during 1 year. What is that we have done in the company? What is that we have done as a startup? This actually provides the information about the company's ability, or even if you're a loss-making company, then how do we generate profit? Whether we can increase the revenue or we can reduce the cost, or we should do both. If the profit is very high, then things are going good. So how do I manage to get the same profit next year? Or how do I, if there is a loss, why is my loss there? Is it because there is a low revenue, or is it the revenue is very good, but the cost of sales, that is the cost for, the costs that are associated with marketing. I may take a TV ad, I may take a newspaper ad, the front page ad and all. Has it really benefited my company in terms of an, increased sales? So those are the information that you get out of a P&L. Next. So what is the difference between a balance sheet and a P&L? Both are two different things, because they have, though they have the same set of information, including the revenue, expenditure, profit, or loss, there are subtle differences between them. Actually, these two documents are extremely important for an investor. They scrutinize it because it tells them the operational efficiency and the year-to-year consistency and how the companies is going. If you take, for example, the balance sheet or the P&L of Infosys, it will tell you last year what is their revenue, what is their cost for making that, what are their expenditures, so what is the profit percentage that they have had. If the profit percentage was 10% last year, and it was 25% year before, is that company doing something different, differently, because and their profit margin has come down? Or if it is reverse, is the company doing something extraordinarily well, so that its profit margin is increasing? So these are all the readings that they get out of both balance sheet and P&L. Next. Cash flow. The cash flow is the amount of cash that is available in the system. It's like, what is that you have in your purse? You have a salary and you have your expenditure. The salary is in the bank account. So in the bank account, how much of money you have today and how much is the churn that happens. So I get a salary of say 2 lakhs, and this much amount goes to my EMI, this much amount goes to my credit card, this much amount goes to my house rent, this much amount goes to my savings, the blah, 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 blah. And this is the balance that I have. So the cash flow is how much of a cash I have, which has come into the system and which has gone out into the system, is what the cash flow is. Your bank statements are the cash flows. Okay, next. Break-even analysis. What is break-even analysis? It is the point at which you become profitable. For example, I'm making a pen. Okay, so there are fixed costs. What are all the fixed costs? I have to have a place for rent for establishing a factory. Then I should have a machine for making the pen. Then I have to have packaging. Then I have to have a testing department. All these are all basic costs, without which I cannot produce even one single pen. Whereas if I'm producing 100 pens, then the input or the raw materials that I purchase for 100 pens will be different against if I'm going to have 1,000 pens. So it is the total cost for the fixed cost plus the variable cost. The fixed costs are all those things which are already there. The variable costs are all, even in a software industry, if you take, the fixed costs are right now there is no company, which is taking on rent. You can even go, work from home, etc., etc. But still, you need to have a laptop. You need to have a website. You need to have a mailing system. You need to have a place where you're storing all these things. You need to have a server. All these are all fixed costs, irrespective of what business that you do. Even if it is 2 people or 3 people in the company, you still all need all these things. But if there are 100 people, then those expenditures are instead of 3 laptops or 5 laptops, you'll go for 105 or 110 laptops. So the laptop will be increasing. So these are all the variable cost, which is based on the production units. So all these put together, and what is that total? If I'm having 3 people, am I billing them to all the 100% billing? If it is available, then these 3 people fixed cost plus variable cost minus their billing will give me the profit. If I'm not billing all the 3 people, but I'm billing only 2 people, then it means that for making up that, I definitely need to bill at least 1.5 persons, or I should bill 2 persons. Then it becomes that break-even point, beyond which it is all more and more. So if instead of doing 100 pens, if I do, if I make 250 pens, then it recovers my fixed cost and my cost of sales. Then that is the break-even point. That point is called as a break-even point. Anything more and more will increase my profit percentage. So that's a break-even analysis. Next. Last but not the least is the management plan. We are quickly going to go through this before we end up the session. Next. The management plan consists of the team, the operation plan, milestones, risk and mitigation, and then the exit plan. Why exit plan? Yes, it is much more. That is also very, very imperative in any business. If you're wanting, we'll come to it when we are talking about the exit plan. Next. This section is mainly for investors, attracting the core founders and the first team. You need to very, very clearly specify what kind of a team you want to have. I am a person. These are all my positives. And I need a person who will complement me. If I'm going to have a person, I'm a technical person and I have another technical person. Both of us are technical persons. Shouldn't you go for a marketing person? So the second one is, if both of them are technical, then who's going to take care of the marketing? Who's going to do the tech? Or I am very good in techno marketing and my friend is very good in technical. So between both of us, we will manage. That is okay. So you need to put down what is that each one's USP is. Then you need to really work on it so that you have people who are not just complementing, who are actually filling in the gaps where you lack. Do not go for team members who are only complementing. They have to really fill in the gap of your wherever areas, whatever the areas that you lack in. Next. The operational plan is all about the product development plan. From day 1 to when the product will be sold, how do you produce the product? If it is a physical product, what are all the things that needs to be done? How do I reach out to a larger market, or is it a localized market? All these things come under operational plan. Even if it is a software product, does the organization have the ability to produce a product or a service? These are all some of the things that you definitely need to work on. Next. Sales and distribution plan. So as I told you, very, very important. Unless and otherwise you have the sales and distribution plan in place, your target short-term goals and long-term goals will be reflecting on how your operational plan is coming up. So when you're presenting a business plan to anybody, even in a growing business, if you're presenting it to your boss for a new entry market, or new product or a new market entry, or even a sales next year's business plan, etc., etc. These have direct linkages towards your short-term and long-term goals, which we saw earlier. Next. Milestones. What are all the milestones that we need to? Product development, team formation, marketing, branding efforts, and sales achievement. These are, in all these things, please have your short-term and long-term goals. This becomes very, very important. It's like, building a house. So what is that first happens? First is getting a plan. First is going to the drawing board, getting a plan. Then going to the CMD office, I'm applying for the permit. Then after getting the permit, then digging for the foundation, and then laying the foundation, then going for the basement, blah 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 blah. All these things have short-term and long-term goals, and make sure that you are putting in all these things. This is very good, not only for only the startups, but also for the going businesses. Next. Risk and mitigation. Product risk, operations risk, competition risk, financial risk, customer risk, legal and environmental risk. All these are as important to be put down, because if, for example, your product, like I told you earlier, let's take a legal and environmental risk. I had one mentee coming up to me, and he was saying that he wants to have a product which he has to keep it in the bike, which will show up the Google map. I was very, I was not very happy about that, because in a traffic condition, will the police be okay with having a device which is in front of the driver, which is showing the map, especially on a two-wheeler? Okay, but that is what every other Dunzo boy or a Swiggy girl does it. But how far it is a good thing when to have when you are having a product and then having a larger outlay of reaching out. All the two-wheelers are my customers. That is the larger market. But is it will it be allowed by the police? You definitely need to check with the Motor Vehicles Act about having this extra fitting attached in a two-wheeler, whether it will contravene any Motor Vehicle Act law. All these things is what you have to really work on. And the customer risk is, okay, if somebody, you will see that, the coffee, hot coffee, do not keep it on a lap, because in US, one lady bought a coffee, and she was keeping it in her lap when she was driving. And when she had a sudden break, the coffee spilled over and it scalded her thighs. Then she went to court. Said there was no mention that it is a hot product and I should not keep it on my lap, which is a normal thing. A person with a brain will know that it is a hot coffee and you cannot keep it on a lap. And if it spills, it is going to scald your thighs. But still, you definitely need to worry about it, because in today's environment, it is more for consumers than for the manufacturers. And so you have that wet floor, do not cross. All these are there. Wet floor, like you will always slip and fall. So you have to have an indication that you are cleaning that. So these are all some of the things that you definitely need to talk about when you are putting up your risk plan and mitigation. It is not just your operational risk or the competition risk or the financial risk. It is all other things also that you need to take care. Next. Exit plan. Very, very important. Okay. Why? What I'm building my product for? Is it for being a player in the market, or am I going to build something as as a product, create a market for it, sell it, and then go out. Or I'm going to continue this product forever. All these things are all what you need to plan. Depending on which your every other strategy changes. If it is a product that you are wanting to buy, then you you are wanting to sell, then it means that you have to have a quick jump up in your sales. You have to keep a heavy watch on your profits, because those are the indicators for somebody to buy out with a good profit margin. But if it's a product that you want to establish yourself and then go forward, you can take it very slowly. And strategic acquisitions, how do we create a buy-in so that these people will be wanting my product to be bought by larger corporations? And then the last point is IPO. Am I going for an IPO? How do I exit out of the business? Where do I exit, and how do I return back the money? All these are all coming under the exit plan, which I at this point of juncture, this is more than enough. So with this, we can, and the last few slides are about the executive summary. If you remember in the first slide, I talked about the table of contents. The first thing was executive summary, but I'm coming it to the last because a trailer is released only after the full movie is launched. It is not done at the initial stage. Always understand the trailer is for making sure that what are all the selling points of it, everything is covered in a trailer and it is released into the market so that people will come and buy it. So your executive summary is nothing but a trailer of the movie, and it should not exceed 2 pages. If it exceeds 2 pages, it is like your short trailer video. If it is too big, nobody can download and see. If it is short, it is easy to see, it is easy to appreciate, and easy to pass on. To create a viral effect, it needs to be very short. Same is the case with executive summary. And with this, we come to the end of the presentation. So, questions, please. I think there are a lot of questions. Can somebody, help me to read out those questions in the chat box? Definitely will do, Anand. You can reach out to me. I will. I'm giving you my email ID.
I will read out the questions.
Yes, ma'am.
And my mobile number. I'm also on the WhatsApp. If I'm not picking up the phone, I will definitely return back your call also.
In the 6 rows of practice. Shall I read the question?
Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am. In the chat box, one questions for in the 6 O's, purchase 2 and 5 are objectives. What is the difference between them, ma'am?
Can you say that again?
In the 6 O's of purchase 2 and 5 are objectives. What is the difference between them?
See, the difference between is that the how do you position your product? Okay, under what category that you want to put them in, and then make them appealing to the customer, because ultimately the customer has to have an appeal. For example, if you take a movie industry, Ajit has his fan following. Vijay has his own fan following. Rajinikanth has a fan following, and each one have have a difference in why those fans are attracted to them, right? But if they want to do something different in a different genre, then they have to hard sell it to attract more than what they have to. It's not just only their own fan following, but also across the others, they have to come in. So that is where the messaging is very important to the buying behavior of the customer towards what your objectives of 6 O's of buying behavior. Have I answered your question?
Yes, ma'am. And
Okay.
one more
Mohan,
question.
actually,
Yes.
she's trying to say that 2 and 5 are duplicates. Row
Say that
2 and
again.
row 2 and row 5 are duplicates. That's what she is saying, I think.
What is duplicate?
See, for example, row 2 in that 6 O's is objective of purchase. What do they need bar buy? Row 5 is objective purchase. Why do they buy it? I think she wants
No, they are
it's a
mutually
duplicate.
exclusive, sir. They are
It's
mutually
not
exclusive.
duplicate, but madam should
It
tell.
is not duplicate. It is not duplicate.
Please tell.
It is not duplicate in the sense that both are two different aspects of it. Why do you go for a Rajinikanth movie, wholesome entertainment? That is one. But will I go for all the Rajinikanth movies? That is a different question altogether. Only the committed fans will go for Rajinikanth movie. If I am not a committed fan, if I want a wholesome experience, then I go for it. So they are two different things. They are mutually exclusive.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next.
And one more question, ma'am.
Ah.
What are the basic skills an entrepreneur in your point of view and experience?
Basic skill is hard work, hard work, hard work.
Hmm.
Do not come into entrepreneurial journey thinking that you are going to be your boss. You are you are everyone's boss except yourself. And you have to really, it's about passion. Okay. How passionate you are towards it, and then how can you deliver that passion to convince people to come along with you, or buy your products. Even your team, if they feel that you're not passionate, they may not reciprocate that passion. The passion has to originate from you, and you have to really do hard work. The product doesn't sell on itself. Even it can be a superlative product, but you have to really market it well and then sell it. Yeah, that's a common joke of, in one old movie where I think S.V. Shekhar will be selling sand in the marina. Okay. Sand in marina is available, but he will package it in a nice way, and then there will be a large queue. So you can sell anything and everything if the packaging is right. But will you get a repeat behavior? That's a question. That's why you find that Chinese products, one-time sales, they are happy about it because they believe on volume sales. They are not believing on repeat customers. Whereas if you take a Japanese product or a German product, they work on the best product experience and repeat customers. So the objective of how you want to position your product or you is very, very different in the way in which you sell it also. Next question.
Yes, ma'am. Some of the questions are raised from registration itself, ma'am. The first question is, how business plan to help for startup?
That is what we have talked about throughout this 1 hour and 15 minutes, because this is the blueprint. If you have this right, then the building comes up properly. If you are not having this right, then the building, no contractor can do a construction without you letting them know what is that you're constructing. That the basic thing about business plan is, it is the blueprint. You don't construct you even in a hut, you find out what is the surrounding area that you can create a mud wall, then what is the kind of roof that you have. It can be even the Ola or whatever it is. Whatever is available, you plan it and then build it. You don't bring everything and then suddenly start doing it. You plan for it, at least mentally, and then start doing it. That is what a business plan is.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Next question for one more participant. How do you think business has changed in recent times?
I told you, it is no more a seller's market. It's a buyer's market, out and out. That means the buyer chooses what he or she wants to buy, and at what cost they want to buy and how they want to buy. For them, the selling experience is very important. Their experience, it's an experiential way of buying behavior that they are looking at. That is how things have changed. Like if you see in the college market, there are only few top colleges where even today you really worked on getting into those colleges. But the rest of the colleges, they are happy to get the students into their colleges. So what happens? Why is that that those colleges are not getting into the top ranks? Is they have to work on their USP, because there is no differentiation between A college, B college, C college, because it is an informed world. The buyers are more informed. The phone gives them all the information that they need. So even if you are buying one surf packet, they go through the reviews. A doctor has to have a good review. The doctor, I mean, if you are looking at a pediatrician, then what kind of a reviews people make? Only if the pediatrician is very close to your house and your child is ill, you want to take them. Otherwise, you want to find out whether the pediatrician is fully qualified, they are a MD or a diploma holder, what is their reviews about it. All these things become very, very important. So the buying behavior is experiential and based on reviews of others, rather than just going and then buying madly.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Next question: how to choose the business area?
This is like, where do I want to build a house? Okay. I want to build a house means there has to be some dream. I mean, there is some dream house in my mind. Okay. And that dream house has to fit in. And there are a lot of, aspects to my dream house. And you have to detail it out. It is not that, you put, you don't pick and choose the business area you want to enter into business. Okay. For example, you take the flower vendor, the ordinary flower vendor. She is the best entrepreneur, I would say. Why? Because you will not find her in a place where there are no takers. Okay. She will understand where she can put a shop first. Okay, even if she's putting a shop and then she finds there are no sellers, she'll wind up there and go to a place where there are more sales. And she will also understand typically what kind of profile of the people who are living in that neighborhood. Whether the pricing will should be lower. If you are in a Mambalam area, the pricing of your flower will be lower than if you are in a posh area. For example, in Poet's Garden, you will never find a flower vendor because they are not the people who are going to come to the shop on the door on the street and then buy flowers. They are the people who are going to call, or they are going to send the driver taking an expensive mug to go to a florist shop and order it and then get it for them. So you will never find any flower vendor in Poet's Garden area. Whereas you will find a dime and dozen of them very near the marketplace or near a large store like Sarada stores or Vivek's or hotels or even malls and etc. So that's how you choose what you want to sell, how you want to sell, where you want to sell, and all these things are all only dependent on what kind of a business that you are going to do. There is no hard and fast. I mean, nobody can give you an answer that this is a business area, you go out and then do it in. No way. Next.
Next question, ma'am. How prepare a plan for new venture? What are the requirements for any new venture to start a scratch?
I think if they had been here fully, then I think all these questions are answered. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So you gave the real-time example for very nice explanation, ma'am.
Thank you.
And one more questions from the participant side, ma'am. How to transform an idea into business without investments?
Even a flower seller needs an investment, right? Okay.
Yes.
Jokes apart, if you are able to create a good plan. Okay. Like I said, that F.E. Shekhar movie of, marketing sand, there was no investment in it. He had only that too, he will take that wrapper which was thrown on the seashore and then package sand into it. But he was able to market it well. So if you have an idea and you don't want to invest it right now, what you do is you get together, start doing these plans, create a minimum product variable, okay, MVP, minimum variable product, which will be the base for which people can understand what that product is and then go for funding. So your idea, you have to expand into something which can be felt, if not seen. Okay, that kind of an exercise, if you do it, then you will be able to get investors and then go forward from that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. That's all from the questions from participant side, ma'am.
Good.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your excellent session, ma'am.
My pleasure.
There was a question about is accounting knowledge essential to accounting knowledge?
Accounting knowledge need not necessarily be. Understand what is balance sheet. Cash flow. If you understand, cash flow is very, very simple. What comes in and what goes out. If you understand this, as I told you, if you are a student, your parents give you pocket money and you spend on something and then you have so much left or you don't have any money. That is cash flow. What comes in, what goes out, and you take a snapshot of it, then that is a cash flow. If you are able to understand that, do you really think that the vendor or a person like your neighborhood shops, which are all existing for years together, having those kind of a financial understanding, first start off with basic things. Then you can, once things are picking up, get a qualified person who can advise you, from whom you have to learn the basic things. There is no escaping from understanding the basic things. But initially, to start with, if you are understanding the logic of it, then that's more than enough. Sales minus production cost equal to profit. This is what you have to know. Okay. How much of a sales you need to make for getting a profit. And this is your production cost. Okay. Even if it is a software product, there is a production cost to it, because it also involves your critical thinking, your knowledge, etc., which has a value to it. So those costs minus the sales cost is equal to profit. So if you know this, the cash flow, the profit basis, and basic things like, where I get the money, how I spend the money, whether it has got an return on investment, if I'm going to do this, this is more than enough. Like I tell you, now, like I told you, take the vegetable vendor. They will be having the same shop. You don't underestimate their marketing capability, because they may be having the same shop for years together, 20 years, they will be having the same shop. But behind them, they would have made sure that their children are highly educated, their people are well taken care of, they have built a good business, and they have built a good savings. And these are all invisible items behind a facade of a local market, a local vegetable vendor. Even those person who's coming on a cart may be having children who might be well educated, much better than even all of us put together, because his profits are going into, not in visible terms of a facade creation and things like that, but into his family business, family savings. So this is the answer to it.
And Mr. Anand Ahuja has made some critical analysis.
Oh.
He has compared your book and then your presentation. It seems that there are some differences.
Oh my God. Yes, sir. I'm happy to hear about it.
Yeah, so he says that the presentation has got some additional material.
Yes, of course.
It must be evolving, because
Yes.
the book has been
Yes.
written some point of time.
Yes.
And now you have some additional input.
Very true.
I think
Very-
Anand, you are clear, okay?
This is for only for dummies, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
Clear.
No, Anand, you are very right. This is just for dummies. It is just a place to start. I mean, I very deliberately have kept it very, very simple, very local language, no jargons, so that, and I've given all small examples which will make people understand. Later on, when I'm doing that presentation, then lot more information can be given. If I make it bigger, people lose the interest of either 68 pages. It's easy to sit through in hour, finish off that book, and then go away. If I put it as 250 pages, nobody will even buy it.
No. See, actually, when I registered for this webinar, I saw that you have published a book also. It was the introduction was that given in the registration
Yes.
about you.
Yes.
So I just browsed through the website and I found okay, it seems to be interesting, the book. So I purchased the book when I registered for the webinar. Now, as you are lecturing the presentation slides, I was comparing with the content of the book. I didn't read the book before. I was reading it now as you are presenting. So I found that the presentation had more information. So,
Of course.
So I wanted to request you at least, and I saw the edition is 5 years ago, 2017.
Yeah.
So maybe it's time for a new update of the same edition, maybe in same number of pages.
Sure. Let me think about it and then work on it. Thanks for the suggestion, Anand. Really, I know that there were a lot of shortcomings because when I sat down to write it, it was in a different frame of mind. In fact, I was recuperating from an operation, so I used the time sitting back at the home to finish this book writing.
No,
and I
but
wanted it to be very
It is a
consistent.
good book, no doubt. It's, as you said, a very short and brief book. But then, as you have updated your contents over 5 years in the presentation, maybe the same contents can be updated in the book also.
True. Very true.
Thank you.
Let me
ma'am.
work on it, Anand.
Thank you.
Then
Thanks for
there your example of climbing mountain, no, Himalayan mountain.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Yes.
No,
No,
and
achieving a goal, climbing mountain, something
Yes.
like.
And your example of the flower vendor also is very good. As you said, they very dynamically change their location and sit in front of the temple where everyone goes in, comes out. That's it.
They are the best market predictors. They will understand. See, what we have to learn from them is they will understand the calendar of events much better than any SAW MBA guy, because they will know what function comes, what kind of things will sell, and how much it will sell. Then, based on that, they will go buy out and then they will stop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
during
they-
festivals,
good
Vinayak
business
Chaturthi,
analyst.
Yes.
Vinayak Chaturthi, Diwali, all festivals, they stock accordingly.
Yes.
And
And then they also make use of the sentiments of people, no?
so basically, they know the customer behavior. That's it.
Very true.
They understand the customer behavior.
Yes. Market prediction and market analysis, and then the future prediction, they are extremely good at.
And they have not gone to any business school.
No, not at all.
So by observation, by actual practice,
Yes.
they have learned from real.
Yes. It's like your, grandma putting vadams and all in the earlier days. She will not, she won't know about the weatherman today talking about when the rain is going to come. She will know at what time she has to prepare and then when she has to dry it out. So there, because it needs constant 3 days of very good sunlight for it to dry. She's a much better market predictor than any one of us.
Okay.
Madam,
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bani, for a wonderful presentation. Simple, at the same time nailing the points, no?
Thanks a lot.
The essential aspect. Maithili, are you there?
Anand,
Yes, sir.
Padmanabhan
I have a
has-
question.
Ananta.
Yes,
Ananta,
yes.
yeah.
Question, madam.
Ananta Raishi, sir.
Normally society, we share the presentation with the members who are attending.
You want to share
That will
it?
satisfy Mr. Ahuja. It will also satisfy me. By the by, I also bought a book like that. It came only by today morning post. I am in the same boat, looking to see where it is missing, the chart. So it is sufficient if you share if the organizers share the
Okay,
presentation.
sure, please.
I think that is sufficient.
Yeah.
You should consider a post-COVID annexure to your book.
Yeah, I should write a sequel to it.
Yes, madam. how it has affected even.
No,
Yes.
if there can be, no, 2.0 for movies. I can also have business plan 2.0 also.
Yes, madam. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, madam. Sarada madam, really,
Yes, madam.
the excellent presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we had very good time in the evening, spending time with you. We are all very lucky to know about it. You have covered completely A to Z information for an entrepreneur, from start to how to start to how to exit, idea to IT filing, planning to profit and loss. Well said, madam, really.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
you've gone through just each and every step, experiencing yourself and explain to down to earth to whoever can easily understand. The very simple example to make us understand that pros and cons of being an entrepreneur is really excellent. It is. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us. I also thank our joint society, IEEE-CS, PCS, and ACM, so for your ongoing support with us, with CSI. And last but not least, the participants who made this event more clarity. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks a lot. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, Matli. In fact, Ramani says that I preach what I don't practice. So I haven't written a business plan for my business. That's why I'm able to preach very well.
Really, they can understand your the way of giving that, how you are into that and telling that. Otherwise, it's not. As he told, now book definitely required one person to teach, right? So whatever we are reading, the way it is, this your presentation to understand the book more clarity.
Amma, the Kona roads are the original.
Yes, of course.
Thank you for this opportunity. I really enjoyed myself because it's been quite some time since I have spoken on business. So it was a great opportunity for me too.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank
Good night then.
Good night. Good day.
Yes. Stop now.
தேங்க்ஸ் சார். தேங்க்ஸ். நடுவில் திடீர்னு பிரசன்டேஷன் எப்படியோ ஸ்டாப் ஆயிடுச்சு, அது எனக்கு தெரியல. ஃப்ரீஸ் ஆகி அவங்க சொல்ற மட்டும் தெரியல. அவங்களே யாரும் மியூட் பண்ணியிருந்தாங்க.
யாரோ keep on pressing, someone is muting, unmuting people.
ஆமா.
ஏதோ பண்ணிருந்தேன்.